Hi, Stats. This is running through page 1 and 23, which is a review. So just know on Tuesday this week, we have the part 1 of the test. Wednesday, we will go over that part 1 so you can get half your points back. And then Thursday will be part 2 of the test. So let's see what our next problem is. All right. So let's go to the box plot. And I'm going to clear this out and jump on Desmos and do all the information I can do based on that. So I'm going to L equals square bracket. So I have 8 comma 19, 10 comma 14, 6 comma 28, 16 comma 75, 10 comma 18, 14 comma 20, 45 comma 16, 21 comma 10, 11 comma 9, 15, and this is on page 123, 15 comma 22, 8 comma 16, 20 comma 24. All right, so create a modified box plot. So on Desmos, type in box plot, open parentheses L, hit the plus button. So basically it gives us that. So make sure you label the values that are put there for you. And then it says create a different display based on our data. So I can go histogram of L, and I maybe would change this to 5. So if you notice that my box plot is below as well, but notice where the outliers are. So there was a circle here and a circle here, but that's a nice nice histogram. Brief description of this data set. We have 2 outliers. It's skewed to the right because of those outliers. That would mean the mean has to be a larger number than the median. Okay, next problem down below. This is basically our bar chart that we're creating. We haven't done a bar chart in a while. So center downtown, there's 112 crashes. South is 46. West is 36. North is 35. And east is 30. Desmos will not do a bar chart for you. Just make sure you have it labeled your things. Make sure your vertical columns don't touch each other. Which display would be appropriate for this? Well, it's got to be a box plot because we can't, we just have categories and the numbers in the categories. Histogram wouldn't work because we have categories, so that's number 5. Okay, and let's take a look on page 124. Plug our data in, let's get rid of this. Oops. So 46 and 50. 38 and 61, 40 and 47, 54 and 40, 72 and 51, 50 and 40, 46 and 55, 39, 62, 48 and 39, 33 and 34, 40 and 44, 26 and 46. Okay. If we want to find the mean of this, just type in mean in L. So our mean is 4875. Find the median. If you type in the word stats and do the stats of L, this will give us our min, Q, our 5-number summary, basically what it gives us. And if I wanted to find the standard deviation, STDEV of L, so our standard deviation is 10.19 roughly. The IQR will be Q3 minus Q1. So I think if we go back to our graph. So Q3 minus Q1 would be 11 in our case. And then our lower boundary is going to be Q1 minus 1.5 to QR. Well, Q1 is 39.5 based on our information behind times 1.5 times 11. So our lower boundary is 23. Our upper boundary is going to be Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, so 50.5 plus 1.5 times 11, that's 67. So our outliers would have to be below 23 and also above 67. So 72 is the only outlier. There's not an outlier to the left. Okay, so if we go, let's go back to Desmos. So based on our mean and median, so our mean is 45.9, the median is 46, so it's skewed to the left because the mean is smaller than the median. So remember, the mean goes in the direction of the skewness, so it's skew left. Explain what the mean means in the context of this problem. So make sure you remember the mean means the expected value. So the expected value would be 45.875. That's the expected value. Explain what the IQR would be. The IQR is the middle 46% or middle 50% of our data. So it's the middle 50%, 25% to the left, 25% to the right. Q3 is in the 75th percentile. So that means 75% of our data is less than that, 50.5. And any outliers in this data set? So any outliers in this data set, let's see. So if I did a box plot of L, so this would be an outlier. You'd be able to find that by going Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR, and that would get you that outlier. I'm not sure if there's any other outliers out there. Nope. All right, and then we get to the 5-number summary down below. So the 5-number summary, the 10 is the minimum, 14 is Q1, 20 is the median or Q2, 28 is Q3, and 44 is the max. So if I wanted to figure out the mean of this, the only thing I know is it would be above 20 because this shape is skew right. I can't tell anything else about that. The standard deviation I can't do, but I can tell you that the standard deviation would fall outside of 28 and outside of 14 and outside of 28 because that standard deviation is 68% of your data, not 50%. My lower extreme for an outlier would be -7, seen up above in green, and my upper would be 49, so I don't have any outliers. I can't tell what my standard deviation is off of a 5-number summary. The range would be 44 minus 10, which is 34. My IQR would be 28 minus 14, which gives me 14. And then my upper outlier boundary would be 49. My lower would be -7. And how many outliers does this data set have? It doesn't have any. All right, page 125, we're looking at tortilla chips versus potato chips. So tortilla has like 110, 110, 135, etc. Potato chips have 120, 130, 135, etc. Describe the two distributions. I would say tortilla chips are skew left. Potato chips are relatively normal. In theory, are potato chips healthier, supported here? Tortilla chips tend to have some of those, the 110, 110, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are healthier. But by our distribution, it might show that. And then our last questions talk about the gophers, chipmunks, and prairie dogs. And they gave us the average, which is the mean, and the standard deviation. So which team did best offensively? That would be the gophers. Offensively would be highest scoring. So the gophers would score up to 75. Which teams are the most predictable offensively? So problem number 23, both the chipmunks and the prairie dogs, because they have equal standard deviations and it's not skew in any direction as far as we know. Number 24, which team is likely to score between 62 and 68 points? I would say the chipmunks. Okay. The chipmunks will score between scored between 59 and 62 points. So that would work. Yeah, so the chipmunks would fall in between those two. And then 25, if the median of the gophers is also 65, what can you say? Well, you would say the chipmunks have a normal distribution. There's no skewness to it. And which team would have likely have the highest IQR? Briefly explain. I can't really tell who would have the bigger IQR other than looking at the standard deviation would be more spread out. And so I think the Gophers would have the largest IQR, even though I can't tell just because it has the biggest standard deviation. Have a nice day. Make sure you study. Again, Tuesday is part one of the test. Wednesday is going over problems from part one, getting half your points back. Thursday is part two of the test in which you'd have to come in and get half points back on that. Have a nice day.